This video was going to be so simple. A quick first look at the new cartridges from Ortofon, the new Stylus from Jico. I thought, yeah, we'll just rattle that one off real quick, nice and simple, and then things got a little bit involved. So what happened was this. I got the new M44 Stylus in from Jico, and then the new VNL carts from Ortofon showed up. I intended to do a first look at both and call it a day, but then I decided I wanted to do some comparative recordings of them. Having done that, I thought maybe I'd just throw a couple of other carts into the mix. And then I ended up recording 25 different cart and stylus combos. So here's the plan. I'm going to talk about the new ones and another cart which I've been testing lately. Then at the end of the video, I'll throw up all 25 recordings. Now, the amount of compression that my video encoding plus YouTube's will impart on the sound means that you won't get a true reflection of the objective quality of each, but you will certainly be able to hear the differences between them. And I will upload WAV files of each sample to SoundCloud. Check the link in the description for those. I just thought, and I hope you'll agree, that this might be a useful resource. Back to the new stuff, and let's talk about the new Ortofons first. I still think of the original VNL as a fairly new cart, but they've actually been around for 5 years at this point. It was kind of a weird product at launch, as the company provided it with 3 different styli, each with different compliance levels. Talk about confusing. In the end, everyone seemed to just settle on the number 2, the middle one, and that's the only version widely sold today. The VNL has got a lot of traction in the time since it launched, and I see plenty of them in the wild. When I played 45s with Jim Sharp recently, he pulled his out to use, and they're also popular with house DJs and the like. If you look for vinyl sets from Louis Vega of Masters at Work on YouTube, you can see him using them too. Ortofon do still sell their older OM range of DJ carts, but it seems that for most DJs, the VNL has become the default choice for a headshell mounted cart from the brand. They track really well, the sound is good, and they're fairly affordable. The new VNL comes in 2 varieties, the Trix and the Dance. The Trix has a spherical stylus tip and is aimed at those who cut, scratch or are otherwise pretty hard on their needles. A cart and stylus together has a street price of around €100 and replacement styli are around €50 each. The Dance has an elliptical stylus and is more aimed at those who value sound quality first and foremost. A cartridge has a street price of roughly €120 and the styli sell for about €70. Both types share the exact same cartridge body, and so the styli are interchangeable. I'm still not the biggest fan of the overall blocky aesthetic of the VNL, but they do look quite striking, with the Trix being all white with a fluorescent white stylus tip, and the Dance is reminiscent of the old nightclub carts with its neon yellow colour. Aside from the elliptical option, the biggest change here is in the output volume, with a very loud 10mV as opposed to 6mV on the original. I'm sure hi-fi people will have some kind of opinions on this, but as a DJ, I'm always generally happier to see a louder output. It just helps to balance the sound of vinyl with digital sources better on most club mixers. Interestingly, some of that boost in output comes from the cart and some from the stylus, which means as the new styli are also compatible with the older VNL cartridges, you will see an increased output when putting a Trix or Dance stylus on an OG VNL cart. It doesn't get you right up to the full 10mV, but there is a noticeable difference. The stylus specs have changed slightly compared to the original, with the lateral stiffness being higher than any of the OG VNL varieties. This should, in theory, make it a bit less wobbly when scratching than the old one, but those changes are pretty minimal in either direction. Both of the new versions actually do track superbly well, to about the same standard, I would say, but that doesn't change the fact that you shouldn't use the Dance version if you are into cutting and scratching. Using an elliptical stylus for that kind of use is bad for the stylus itself and your records, and you should stick to the Trix. Both versions track at 4 grams, the same as the old VNL. Is there much difference in sound between the 2 types? I really couldn't hear much, if any, during my tests, so I put the recordings through the Spectrum Analyzer in Ableton Live, and there it is. The Trix has a little bit more of a scoop down in the very, very low end. That's going to be advantageous when scratching, reducing low-end rumble as you handle the record, but with the Dance, you'll maybe get slightly more defined sub-bass on a very good big system. Otherwise, the frequency response is pretty much identical, and so, to be honest, I'd lean towards recommending the Trix model for the majority of DJs, just because with them being spherical, you can abuse them that bit more. One thing I really didn't like about the original VNL was the protective cover for the stylus. It simply holds on there with a friction fit and doesn't really want to stay on very well. They've changed it from black to transparent on the new models, but that's the only thing that's new, so I still don't like it. It's fine when just used as a dust cover at home or in the studio, but I wouldn't recommend using it in a case when travelling, as it might fall off in there and damage your stylus. One other Ortofon to review quickly, the new SH2 head shell. It's a head shell, but it is made from glass fibre reinforced copolymer, not aluminium, which means that it's very rigid and non-conductive, both of which are good things for a head shell to be. In terms of handling, I love the new finger lift, which is reminiscent of the ones on the Mark II Concords, and at around €30, it's not wildly expensive, although a bit more than the generic Technic style ones you find online. Overall, I'm a fan of this. As for the VNL carts themselves, regular viewers will know that my favourite cart in the world is the Concorde Mark II Digital, and well, that opinion hasn't changed. I love the simplicity of a Concorde and the narrow point when queuing up, but these are a solid upgrade from the originals, and there are many who prefer a headshell mount cartridge, and in some cases that's a real advantage. On the Reloop RP7s, for example, it will mean that you can angle the carts appropriately for those tone arms, and if you do, then you could use either the Trix or the Dance VNLs quite comfortably. Good stuff. We head to Japan now then, and Jico. There's no doubt that the company have become the gold standard for M44 replacement styli since Shure discontinued the originals, and I've reviewed loads of different options from them over the years. They even make their own M44 cartridges too, not just the styli. And in general, their products are well liked, and not just by me, but by a lot of DJs around the world. But there's been one issue with them historically, the price. The new diamond styli cost in the region of €150 each. Even their more affordable synthetic diamond versions are knocking on the door of €90 each, and for most DJs that's just a bit steep, so clearly an even lower priced alternative would be welcomed. And that's what they've given us now with the Skratch 101, Jico's entry-level DJ stylus. These have a street price of around €100 for a pair in Europe, with the list price being just $70 for a pair in the US. $35 each is heading into serious budget territory, so how have they done it? The answer to that is with ruby tips, not diamond. When I heard this, alarm bells were ringing for me, I'll be honest. I associate that with the cheapest of the cheap, just one step above ceramic tips on the ladder. But I spoke at length with a friend who used to work at a major cartridge brand back in the day, and he was actually pretty positive on the idea. Ruby does not have the same hardness as diamond, but it's still a very hard material, and in terms of wear, he reckoned you might see a ruby stylus last perhaps 2/3 of the life of an equivalent diamond one. So if a stylus only costs 1/3 of the price, well, that equation does work. There are a couple of things to consider when you're thinking about the durability of a stylus. Firstly, the thing that really kills a needle is dirt. Keep your records and your stylus clean. I've talked about cleaning records here on the channel before, and a dedicated carbon fibre stylus brush can easily be had for under $10. And secondly, make sure you are weighting your stylus correctly. These track at 4 grams like the rest of Jico's 44s. Again, I've made a video about that, and a digital stylus pressure gauge can be had for pocket money prices. So keep your stuff clean, balance your tone arm properly, and there's no reason these needles shouldn't last you a very long time. The Skratch 101 is really, as the name implies, designed to be used and abused for scratching, and were inspired by a visit by Jico to the Beat Junkies Institute of Sound DJ school. And I found in my testing that the tracking performance is absolutely up there with the rest of the Jico M44 line, and indeed the Shure originals. One unexpected thing is that they actually sound very good. Ruby tips generally offer a slightly warmer, smoother sound, and that's reflected in the performance of these. There isn't quite as much crispness in the highs compared to the brand's diamond styli, but in some respects it's rather pleasing. Would I recommend the Skratch 101 then? I think for their intended target market, turntablists and DJs on a budget, they are a great choice. For me, the increased high-end fidelity and durability of the diamond tips is worth the extra money, but if you mostly play with battle vinyl, control records, or just can't afford the more expensive models, then yeah, they will do the job very nicely. One more highlight review before we get to the comparisons. The Audio-Technica AT-XP7 isn't new, but it came to my attention recently. I was watching a video from Master Sounds where they replaced the tone arm on a 1200 with a Rega one, and I spotted that they supply the XP7 on those arms. So, as I trust the judgment of Master Sounds when it comes to audio, I thought I'd check the XP7 out. It's part of Audio-Technica's range of DJ carts, which seem to be kind of under the radar. That line starts with the XP3, which is a spherical model, and goes up to this XP7 via the XP5. Both the 5 and 7 are elliptical, so the usual caveats apply around heavy cutting and scratching. But these are DJ cartridges. They are designed to hold up to the rigours of mixing and back queuing. And in use, yeah, the XP7 tracks very nicely, with no issues queuing or holding the groove at their recommended 3 gram tracking force. Price-wise, they're kind of up there. A cart and stylus is around €170 and a replacement stylus is around 130. Why such a small difference? Well, as far as I know, the XP carts all use the same cartridge body, and then the differences are all in the styli. So the XP7 cart is the same as the €60 XP3 cart, so that then makes sense. But how's the sound? Well, I'd say these are kind of niche. The overall presentation is incredibly detailed with very precise separation, but they do demand quite a lot from your phono preamps to get the best out of them, especially in the area of high frequencies. With a very high quality preamp, there's enough resolution there to make the sound very pleasing indeed. But with more standard preamps, which are usually voiced with less nuanced cartridges in mind, the high end just kind of gets a bit lost and the XP7s sound a touch muddy. With the right mixer, I do find the sound of the XP7s to be really rather lovely, and their performance is great. So I can understand why a company like Master Sounds would recommend them, and if I was looking for some carts to use at home with a high-end rotary or such like, these would absolutely be on my shortlist. But to me, that lack of ability to shine on less capable equipment means that for a DJ who takes their carts out with them to gigs, they might not be the best choice. Right, so there's some stuff I want to talk about before we get to the comparisons, which will be after my outro for this video. Either they'll be here on YouTube or they will just be on SoundCloud so you can hear the original WAV file recordings. The thing I want to mention first of all is the record I've used is Sei Tuya. It's the B-side of this Milano Edizione, excuse my pronunciation, Spring Summer 25 on Faris Passion Records. Now I've actually saved you a treat because the A-side is just next level good. It's an incredible track, but I thought I'd use the B-side for this. So far it doesn't have a block on my own personal YouTube. I uploaded there as a unlisted video and there's no copyright blocks so far, so fingers crossed. And if you do like the record, go check out that A-side, go buy a copy for yourself because yeah, it's a fantastic track. Please support the artist and the label and go get yourself a copy. Now, what I wanted to show you here, this is all the original recording files. And I used the same mixer. I used a Resor mixer because it has the most transparent discrete preamps I've ever heard, basically. And I left all of the mixer settings exactly the same. The audio interface, recording settings, all exactly the same. Everything in the software was the same. So any differences in the size of these waveforms is purely down to the carts and the styli that you are, that you're seeing being compared. Now down the bottom, I've actually got a whole line of these are normalized, these ones down below. So when you hear the comparison, to avoid any loudness bias, I have normalized them as close as I can to each other, so they should all sound a pretty similar level. But I want to show you the differences here because, well, firstly, I always used to think when there was a difference in the output voltage, it was all down to the cartridge, but it absolutely is not. There is a difference in the stylus as well. So firstly, let's look at these two here. We've got the VNL Dance and we've got the VNL Trix. We can see they've got a nice healthy output volume, very similar between the two, very little to call in terms of the output volume. And then we get on to the Jico. This is the Jico M44-7 cartridge, and this is with the Skratch 101 stylus on there. We can see we then move on to the Nude Diamond stylus, very similar output volume if you look down at these waveforms. And we get to the Synthetic Diamond, that's their 44G. The Synthetic 44-7, and then so this is the interesting part, right? Same cartridge. We move on to the next clip. Same cartridge, but with the Nagaoka M44G stylus on there. Look at the difference in output voltage with that one. Now, this Nagaoka is a very popular stylus right now. It's available through Stokio, so they have good distribution around the world. It's pretty affordable, and I've seen a few DJs like Mark Hype from Dusty Donuts. He's using these now, and I can see why, because they have a very brash and very loud output. Now, to me, they don't sound a lot like the original M44Gs, which were quite a kind of smooth and refined sound. These sound just more like maybe 44-7s, but perhaps even more kind of loud and impactful and kind of mid-range heavy. They're just very brash is what I would say. You can listen in the comparison for yourself, but yeah, notice the difference, right? So that's the same cartridge for this one, this one, this one, and this one. Then we get to the Nagaoka, and look how much louder that is. That's all from the stylus itself. Then we move over to the Audio Technica XP7, which I've already kind of explained what I think about the sound of that. You can hear that for yourself. Pretty decent output level on that, kind of similar level to the Jico 44s. Then we have the original VNL, and you can see that's substantially quieter than the new ones, than the new Skratch and the Trix. But then we look at the VNL original cartridge with the Dance stylus on there and with the Trix stylus on there, and you can see it does get a pretty chunky output boost when it comes to the level. It's not as loud as the full-on, you know, new version combo of cart and stylus, but there is a definite increase there. So that's worth checking out for sure. If you own the original VNL, I would definitely, you know, next time you buy a stylus for those, I would buy the new ones 100%. Then we move on to my favourite cartridge in the world. That just has to go in this roundup because it is my favourite cartridge, the Concorde MK2 Digital. Really loud output, great sound, great tracking. I love the Concorde style. For me, it sounds great with my 45s. It sounds great with 12 inches, and it just works all around. That's just my favourite cartridge. It had to go in the comparison. Then we have the Concorde MK2 Club, which is a favourite of many DJs I know in my life. They love this thing. It's the elliptical stylus. Great sound quality, really detailed, tracks well also, but obviously it's not designed for cutting and scratching. Then we've got the Concorde Elite, which to my ears does sound better than the Concorde Club. I think it's more detailed. That Nude stylus does make a big difference. But there is also a large difference in the pricing between the two as well. The Elite is far, far more expensive than the Club. Whether that's going to be justified, that price increase to you or not, that's really your decision. But it is an absolutely lovely cartridge. Then we get to two which are fairly unknown. This is the Chuden 3605, I think, is the spherical. I'll correct myself on the screen if I'm wrong. This is a spherical stylus. Neither of the Chuden ones which I look at and use in this comparison, I don't think they have the greatest tracking performance in the world, but they do have a really interesting sound, and you can see this spherical one is just ludicrously loud, like way louder than anything else in this entire list. It's just massively loud. So if you're looking for something really loud and impactful, and I do enjoy the sound of it, it's just there's nothing to write home about when it comes to the tracking performance. They track at 3 grams, I think it was. Again, I'll correct myself on the screen later if I'm wrong, but yeah, I do like the performance of those. And if you're looking for something a bit unusual, bit of out of the norm, then yeah, they're a good one to look at. The elliptical one I think sounds a little bit better. Does have a loud output, not as loud as that spherical one though. For some reason that is just beyond the levels. Then we get to the Impact from Jico, and I've put the Skratch 101 stylus on there. This is the one, this is the reason I'm doing this comparison, is because I recorded this in, I was like, even through YouTube's compression, you are going to hear the difference. That Impact is all about the low end, and it does seem to lose out a bit on the high frequencies. It's not as detailed, I don't think, in any way, as the regular Jico 44 cartridges. And so, yeah, I definitely think you will hear the difference there, but I was kind of curious to hear the difference between the Impact cartridge with the Skratch 101 and the Impact cartridge with the Nude diamond stylus on there. And I don't think there's a whole lot of difference, but again, you can judge for yourself. Then we come to the original Shure M447 cartridge with an original Shure N447 stylus on there. This is my one remaining original Shure stylus that isn't beaten up. This one is basically new still, so I thought I had to include this in the comparison. You can see it's actually a little bit louder, that combo, than any of the Jico cartridge and stylus combos. But then I thought I would put the Skratch 101 on that original Shure cartridge, and again we can see not quite as loud, but it's pretty close, and I think sound wise there's not a massive difference, but again you can judge that for yourself. Then we have the Audio Technica XP5, which I think is not as demanding of a preamp as the XP7. I don't think it sounds as detailed and as nice, but again, you can kind of judge for yourself. But I do like that one as a kind of slightly more affordable alternative to the XP7. And then we have the Concorde MK2 mix. I realized I had one of those knocking around, so I thought I'd throw that one in the mix as well. Just why not? That is a slightly more, it's the most affordable Concorde MK2. Lots of people use them and swear by them. So yeah, thought that would go in there. Then we have the Ortofon 2M Blue. This is a hi-fi cartridge. Do not use this for DJing. I made a video about this. I do think it's a lovely cartridge for listening and maybe for ripping vinyl and stuff like that. Maybe something you want to have around in your house, but definitely don't DJ with that. It's not a good idea. Then we get to two, which are kind of outliers here on the end. We have the Stanton DS4. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about these. They're very reminiscent of the old Stanton Trackmasters, which I used to lust after as a kid.
I used to really want Trackmasters. I eventually got one, and then I got the a-traks later on in my career. And yeah, they're pretty brash. They're pretty in your face. They do sound, to my ears, like kind of 90s. They sound like a 90s cartridge, and I think they would work well with like 90s dance music and stuff, with like beaten up old records. I think they're going to sound pretty decent. I'm very unsure about the tracking of these. Like, the tracking range is massive. It's like something like between 2 and 6 grams or something, or 2.5. So like, I'm not sure what you're actually supposed to set the tracking force to, which I don't really like. I like slightly more specific instructions when it comes to tracking force, but yeah, an interesting one to hear for sure. And it does have a loud output, so maybe on those, you know, slightly more affordable older mixers, maybe you might get some great results with that. And then finally, we have a Stanton 500. Now, this is not an original Stanton 500. This is a Kyowa, I think it's pronounced, third-party reproduction stylus on there, which is one of the more highly regarded reproduction styli for the 500. What I'd really like to do, and perhaps one of you watching will be able to help me with this, what I'd really like to do is get an original new old stock 500 AL cartridge and stylus and actually try that out and see what that's like, because I have a bit of a theory, and it might be a bit of a wild theory, but this is my theory. My theory is that all dance music from the late 90s and early 2000s in particular, but maybe hip hop and stuff as well, all of that will actually sound best through an original Stanton 500 cartridge and stylus. And that's because at that point, all of those records were being mastered and pressed with those cartridges in mind. So that's my suspicion. I feel like, yeah, your 90s trance records and stuff, they might actually sound best with a 500 over anything else. I could be wrong, but I can't judge it on my very worn out original styli. So yeah, if you've got a new old stock one sitting somewhere in a cupboard, holler at me, because I really want to give that theory a test. Right, let's get back to me in the studio for a wrap up, and then we'll get to the comparison.
So there you go. This could be the end of this video. There might be loads and loads of time left, in which case those comparisons haven't been hit with a copyright issue, and therefore you can still listen to those and make your own judgments. But yeah, this could well be the end if that's got a cut off. If this is the end of the video coming up in a minute, you know why that is. It's just, I did my best. I tried to find a record that wouldn't get us a block, and there we go. We'll see how we get on. But yeah, let's come back to these new products that we're looking at. Obviously the Ortofon, these new VNLs, I do really like them, right? They've got that louder output, which for me was always a little bit of a failing of the original VNL. It was just a bit quiet compared to the Ortofon cartridges, which I generally use. I use louder ones than that, and these are now louder, which is good. They've reduced that confusion around the type of stylus on there, so there's no more 1, 2, and 3, any of that rubbish. You've now just got the Trix one for those who like to kind of cut and scratch, etc. And you've got the dance one for those who are more into long blends and for whom sound quality is maybe a priority over tracking. So yeah, simplicity there. They are louder, so that's good, and they're still very affordable, so that's awesome. I really like those new head shells. I have to say, I'm a big fan of those. They're just really stiff, and that's what you want from a head shell, and they're not resonant in any way. They're affordable, and I really like the overall design, you know, the aesthetic and the way the finger lift feels, etc. So yeah, I'll probably be picking up quite a few of those for my different cartridges in the collection over time, because yeah, really into those head shells. When it comes to Jico, look, I had my fears when I found out these were going to be ruby tipped. I was like, that sounds bad. That sounds cheap. It sounds bad. But actually, having spoken to people in the industry and having used it, I think these are great. And they've finally got to the point, you know, because they did M44 styli. They've nailed that whole thing a long time ago, as far as I'm concerned. The Nude ones, even the synthetic diamond ones were great, but they were just so much money and they were just not affordable. So I saw people in many respects switching over to like the VNLs just from a cost point of view, because the Jico replacement for the M44 they were too much money. These now, much more affordable. Yeah, they probably won't last quite as long as the diamond ones, but they cost substantially less. So I think the cost benefit analysis kind of weighs up really nicely. And I think these are going to end up being the default replacements for a lot of DJs. The other one is the Audio-Technica XP7, which I think, to be honest, is a bit of a challenging cartridge. I think it sounds really good if your preamps are up to the job in your mixer or whatever you're putting it through, right? I think when I've used it on lower quality preamps, not impressed by the sound of this. You need a good preamp to get the best out of it, because the top end
is not like in your face. It's not brash. It's very refined. And on some preamps, that can sound a little bit dull. But you put it through a really high quality preamp, you know, like in an analog rotary mixer that's got great preamps in there, then these things start to shine. So I can see why Master Sounds are a fan of these, because their preamps in their mixers were always fantastic. And the same will go for Union Audio and Resor and all these other great brands who make high quality boutique mixers. But yeah, you put this on something like a DJM 900 Nexus 2, I don't think it's going to sound very good at all. So that is really an interesting one, and maybe perhaps a niche case, but I do appreciate that Audio Technica are actually dedicating a product line to DJs as part of their cartridge line, because as we've seen, you know, there aren't actually that many out there in the world today. So yeah, I hope those comparisons are still up for you to watch after I've said goodbye. If not, I'm sorry, I did try. Thank you for watching this episode of Beatsource Tech. If you liked it, be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss any future videos. And hey, if you haven't already, you can try Beatsource for free and join DJcity for just $10. All the links are down in the description. I'll see you next time.
to you.